So I wanted to talk about the second foundation of mindfulness today, and in a way tag that on to some of the exploration we've already done. I was there so many stories about this, but I was very moved by a story my mom told me when she invited me to have lunch with someone who she had been in the anti-apartheid movement with, and he had been imprisoned in solitary for I think it might have been 8 years, and I don't know. I can only guess how difficult the conditions were. And she said that even though he had been tortured, he never gave the names of the people that that had joined him. They were part of an underground movement, and that whenever he called her, she said she always had time for him because of that incredible commitment. And I thought about it a lot, about the power of orienting towards a vision that is so strong that when we experience a lot of pain and unpleasant experiences, there's a way we hold that. There's a way we can hold it without forgetting the vision of for him, holding safety for everyone else, even when he was going through incredibly painful experiences. And that is a different way of talking about what the Buddha is inviting us to, that it is possible to stay connected to that wish, not to be moved by reaction to the pleasant or the unpleasant, so that we might live in a field of non-harming for ourselves and non-harming for others. Because we know so much of this culture is based on harming, and that harming rests on the dynamic of wanting what's pleasant and not wanting what's unpleasant. And wanting what's pleasant includes every aspect of our experience, through our sense spaces, through our thoughts, through the, not feeling fear and difficult emotions. And so this dynamic actually rests at the very heart of our suffering, because when we forget our vision of where freedom and liberation lies, not really, but importantly, non-harming, also caring and respect and honoring, when we can stay so connected to that then even when we're really going through unpleasant experiences, we're not moved into a reaction that ends up with harmful consequences. Very extreme examples, which we are living with right now, is that the not Pfizer, but the other company, and maybe it's Pfizer too, haven't given their chemical makeup of the vaccine to countries who want to produce the vaccine themselves so they can vaccinate the population. They're holding on to it. And so that is the repercussions is a great deal of harm. And why? Because they want that pleasant experience of access to resources. They want that sense of control themselves. And why do we want control? Because we want pleasant experiences and we want to avoid painful experiences. It's so deep. I watch it myself, and I myself am talking about it because the oncologist said to me, she said, you are going to want to stop the treatment. You are going to want to stop it because it's going to be so difficult and painful for you. And you can't. If you want to heal, you can't. And that's the same invitation. Can I hold those going to be extremely unpleasant, deeply unpleasant experiences? Because, radiation is burning and burning tumors in places that are incredibly sensitive every day for 6 weeks. And they're just saying, you are going to want to die rather than go on. And so I've been myself living with this question of, can I sustain the vision of healing through what's unpleasant? Can we all, in those ways of how we live? And in this retreat for today, can we notice, just notice, can I learn for myself what the Buddha is saying? Because it's not just the words, right? It's what we discern ourselves from the direct experience of noticing what's pleasant and unpleasant moment after moment in our experience. And notice how we react. Notice how fast it is to go towards what's pleasant and how fast it is to turn away from what's unpleasant. And it's like there again and again and again and again, and not to in any way judge it, because that is how our brains and minds and bodies are constituted, to feel something and to react immediately to it. And this is what the Buddha names as the cause of suffering in the Second Noble Truth. This very fast reaction towards going towards the pleasant and moving away from the unpleasant. And what he's inviting us to is this deeper connection to, can I orient and keep alive and sustain a way of relating that isn't about pleasant and unpleasant, but is about healing and freedom? Is there a way to do that? And one of the ways he names is by, as we track this, how am I relating to pleasant and unpleasant? Like letting go of the storyline of, I have to have this or I can't have this, but notice what is it that takes us away from that deep alignment with freedom? What is in our thoughts? What is in our body? What is in the compulsion? Like notice it, because our learning comes from our own insight in this dynamic of noticing, so that when we can see it moment after moment, then we can oh, I see what I'm doing. And I can begin to disentangle from it. Like, the red door with the cross, I can begin to say, oh, I don't have to go there. There are other ways for me to hold this experience. The Buddha And this is one of his invitations, is to notice when we do orient towards the pleasant experience, how quickly it changes. It might be, I have noticed this, as I've been sick, like I'll have something delicious to eat and I can't even eat my whole plate. I can't even eat half my plate. And I'm like, drat, this was so lovely. Someone has brought me such a lovely thing and I can't even finish it. And then it's like, oh, such a temporary pleasure. But even if we get to eat 2 plates of it, it ends up being temporary because at some point it has to come to an end. And so he did say, look, if pleasantness provided pleasantness for every moment of our lives, I wouldn't bother offering these teachings. But it's constituted to end. And if it's going to end, why do we keep investing so much in it? Not only does it end, but actually, as you explore today this dynamic, notice in the moment of wanting and not wanting, whether you feel the context of community, of your own grace, of the field, of the beneficial energies from your practice, or do you feel cut off? Because it's not just that the pleasant experiences end, it's that in the movement of the mind to grasp them, we become isolated, because that's what grasping and aversion do. They are constituted to not hold the reality of how we're part of something much larger. And that's what my mother's friend, he found a way to hold the larger part. I'm part of a larger movement. And we could say we're part of a larger movement, that we're not just doing this for ourselves individually, right? But we're doing it because we are building a way to be with each other and to co-create relationships and communities that are a sustainable expression of something that is beautiful and healing and liberating. Or we could say, I'm willing to hold what's imperfect about us, because even though it's unpleasant, I feel so deeply committed to sustaining relationships with myself and with you, so that we can live in a different way, in community, not driven by pleasant and unpleasant. Holding through for love, for wisdom, for faith, which is what Raymond, that was his name, he's still alive, what Raymond did. And this is our journey, both individually and together. Yeah. Sometimes we don't even know if it's unpleasant. So or pleasant. Sometimes it might be neutral. And so the condition, the the habitual conditioning is that when it's pleasant, we want more. When it's unpleasant, we want less or none of it. When it's confusing and not clear, we split the scene, drift off into a disconnection. So there are these three flavors that flavor every moment of consciousness. In every moment of consciousness, these flavorings happen. And we're driven by them until we begin to learn about it and free ourselves from them, the habitual responses from them. And just to end again, rather than by moving into judgment, like, oh, I can't believe this is what I'm doing all the time, like really, like journal even for a little bit, like really, like do it as an experiment. Like, well, how many times am I reacting and how many times am I holding for my vision? When do I lose it? When do I remember? What helps me? Like, yeah. So let's try it on together. And it's helpful in the beginning to have this exploration drop down from a conceptual exploration to one that is moved in mindfulness, and for mindfulness to be happy to stay with us. We like to give it as many good conditions as possible. It's the sort of complexity of the practice. So see what is most beneficial for your mindfulness. What posture? And see if it's beneficial to offer gratitude to your body. And gratitude to your mind and this deep wish to find and remember a vision of such openness, acceptance and love that we're not driven by habitual reactions. Just seeing in this moment, how can I frame for myself this remembering or wish or longing? Maybe to know my own beauty deeply and want to sustain that. Or my own unconditional love. I wish to remember and sustain and keep connected to that. Or maybe in this moment you feel more called, I want to do this for my partner or children or for the planet. a bodhisattva's wish. In this wish, then see how the energies of them live in your body. Maybe there's a thread, a vibration of love or appreciation. Or maybe right now there's nothing. That's fine too. Just hearing my voice. Mm. Exploring the different parts of your body and see if for now you can go to somewhere that is pleasant, a little pleasant, or a lot. Maybe it's acknowledging the wetness in the mouth or the vibration and touch of breath or of the heart. And acknowledging the pleasantness, not the sensation, but the pleasantness, the pleasant flavor or atmosphere. It might be possible to allow it without anything other than just the knowing of this is pleasant. Or maybe just if it's not in the body, it's holding someone you love and feeling your love for them. The pleasantness of feeling love. Or a place in nature where you feel at home and thinking of it. The feeling in your body when you think about it. This beautiful place that feels sacred to you. And then if you would go to a place that maybe feels a little painful, maybe a place where you feel irritated, see if you can notice the unpleasantness of it, the flavor of unpleasantness. And if it's possible to hold it, allow it. Or you can even think of maybe an argument you had with someone. And the unpleasantness as you think about it. Is it possible to allow it? Or maybe things just feel a bit of a mishmash and nothing's clear. So there's confusion or just not knowing, the kind of neutrality to the experience. See if you can allow that. If you feel like refreshing yourself in some way, please feel invited to do that. Anchoring with the breath for a few minutes, or body scan, or sound, or matter. I'm going to create some different sounds as part of this practice. Learning learning about our minds. Whenever you feel the need for refreshment, to drop this exploration, please feel supported to do that. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for your practice. I just wanted to add one addendum to my invitation for you to journal is not to stay with the thinking after you've written stuff down. But if you do find journaling helpful, to journal, but then to, for 10 minutes or so, and then like come back to the non-conceptual practice. Okay. See you tomorrow morning. Lots of love. Take care.